Hi, this is Charles Borges de Oliveira with Borges Lettering. In this tutorial, we will cover in detail the Actions panel in Adobe Illustrator. We will also cover how to use old stock's actions to create a simple drop shadow, create a split shade using multiple actions, and show you how to use the old stock actions for modern advertising. Next, we will cover some of the fill actions from old stock. So let's jump in. Okay, so we've got Adobe Illustrator opened up here, and we need to get the Actions panel open so we can load actions. So let's go up to the top here to where it says Window, and we're going to click Actions. And now we've got our Actions panel opened up here, and we're going to go to the upper right hand corner. There's a drop down menu, and we'll go ahead and click that. And we're going to come down to Load Actions. So go ahead and locate the old stock folder, and we're going to click on Actions, and you should see 7 folders here. Each folder contains a different action. So for this demonstration, we'll use Old Stock Drop Shadow minus Outline. So I'm going to go ahead and open that, and we'll use the Old Stock Drop Shadow minus Outline Small. So now Illustrator is loading all the actions into the Actions panel. So now let's talk about what we see here. If you notice on the left hand side, you see these check marks. These toggle an action on or off. By clicking it on, it turns it on, and if you click it off, it turns it off. I advise you keep these always checked. The next column here is the dialog. If you click it, you'll turn it on, and you'll see all these icons. My recommendation is to always keep this off. Next, up here we have the folder's name. In this case, again, it's Old Stock Drop Shadow minus Outline Small, and then we have the actions contained in it. If you want to run an action, you have to click on the one you want to use. So if I wanted to use Diagonal Tight, I have to click on it and it gets highlighted. And then coming down here, there's the play button. But we'll cover that when we run our first action. Okay, in this tutorial, we'll create a simple drop shadow using old stock's actions. So let's go ahead and use the type tool here, and I'm going to type out some text. And for this demonstration, I'm using my font Desire, and I'm set at 140 point. So I'm going to go ahead and type out some text. And anytime you want to run an action, you got to make sure you use the selection tool. You can't be in a text string and try and run the action. It won't work. So I've got the selection tool selected, and I'm going to go ahead and select the text, and then we're going to come over to our actions panel. And I'm going to go ahead and select Diagonal Tight, so I'm going to click on it, and that highlights it. So now we're all ready to play our action. So if you come down over here to the play button, you just press that and the action will begin. And there we have it. We got a simple drop shadow with diagonal lines. And the nice thing about old stock is everything is grouped and separated for you. So now all you have to do is just add your own colors. Okay, so now let's go ahead and create a split shade using old stock's actions. Okay, for this tutorial, we're going to create a split shade. So in the Actions panel, I've gone ahead and loaded up Old Stock Drop Shadow minus Outline Small, and I also loaded up Old Stock Drop Shadow minus Outline Medium. So let's go ahead and type out some text, and we're going to run our first action using Old Stock Drop Shadow minus Outline Medium, and we're going to use the Diagonal Tight action. So I've got that selected, and I'm going to go ahead and press play. Okay, so now we've got our drop shadow. If we want to run another action, we have to select the text and we have to cut it and paste it into a new layer. And the reason being is if we didn't do that and ran the action on just the text, old stock will select everything that's on the artboard. So that's not what we want. So let's go ahead and create a new layer. But first we're going to lock the drop shadow. And I'm going to come down here to this little icon here and press Create New Layer. And I'm going to paste my text in place. And now we can run our second action, which is going to be old stock drop shadow minus outline small. And for this one I'm going to use the solid fill. So I'll go ahead and press play in the actions panel. And this dialog box comes up and it says it can't create outlines. Well, the reason why this is coming up is we already created outlines when we ran our first action. So just go ahead and hit continue. And there we have it. We have a nice split shade. In the next tutorial, we'll show you how to use old stock's actions for modern advertising. In this tutorial, we'll show you how old stock's actions can be used for modern advertising. Don't let the name old stock fool you. It's not just about vintage effects. Okay, so I've got two of the actions loaded here in the actions panel. We'll be using old stock drop shadow minus outline small, and I also got old stock inset fill. We'll be using the inset highlight action. So let's go ahead and type out some text, and for this demonstration I'm going to be using my font Alpine Script. So we type out our text here, and we're going to use the solid fill action from old stock drop shadow minus outline small. Okay, so now we've got our drop shadow. Let's take our text here and we're going to cut it. I'm going to go into the layers panel and I'm going to lock the drop shadow layer. I'm going to create a new layer and paste our text into the new layer we just created. Okay, now we're ready to run our second action. So let's go ahead and use the inset highlight. I'll press play here. Okay, so now we've got our highlight here. Let's go ahead and add some colors to this. So I'm going to go ahead and unlock the drop shadow layer. Let's select the text and we'll go ahead and select a nice gradient. And now we can select our highlight and we'll give it a nice light green color. And something I like to do when I design, sometimes a highlight might be too prominent. So I'm going to go ahead and select the highlight here. And we can drop the transparency down to about 75%. And now I can select the drop shadow here and we'll just give that the same green color. And there you go. Nice modern day look using old stock's actions. Old stock contains 16 fills and also 16 inset fills. For this next demonstration we'll be showing the engraver, engraver 2, and also the line fade top action. So let's begin. Okay, for this next demonstration we will be covering 3 of the 32 actions that are included in old stock's fills. We will be using the engraver action, engraver 2, and also the line fade inset top. I've got 3 lines of text on 3 separate layers. So we'll begin with layer 1, and I've got the text selected, and we'll go ahead and run the engraver action. Okay, now we'll just move on to our next line of text here, and we're going to run the engraver 2 action. Okay, there we go. Now let's just move on to the last line of text here, and we'll run the line fade inset top. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and just add some colors to these. So I'm going to go ahead and select just the letters, and we'll give it a nice burgundy color. So now I'll just go ahead and select the effects, and we'll just give it a nice orange color. So there you have it, 3 of the actions from old stock's fills. Thanks for watching.